Hello everyone and welcome back to Colouring with Kay. Thank you for joining me today. So I had a request, in fact I had a few requests on my previous videos for demonstrating pre-preparing pages for using watercolour media. So I usually use this, which is just an amazing piece of medium which allows us to use watercolour on non-watercolour pages. So it's called Satin Glazing Liquid by Golden. So it's a slow drying extender for acrylic colours, but I use it for watercolour and it works really well. And I purchased this from Jackson's Art. I checked on Amazon, I couldn't find it, although I did find gloss glazing liquid, and I don't know if that will work the same because I've not tried it. So I definitely prefer using this compared to, say, gesso, which gives a very much rougher surface, and the rougher surface means I can't really use coloured pencil, and it's just, you know, it becomes chalk basically when you try to use coloured pencil on it. And this is just a much smoother finish. I have used watercolour ground before and that works quite well, but I would say that this works better. So I have that. I also have a big brush, although you can use say a sponge to apply it. I have used a sponge in previous times to apply it, so I've got this, and then just a palette to put it down in the middle so that I can use it, and then my actual chosen books. So the ones I've chosen for the page to pre-prepare is one from Johanna Basford's World of Flowers, and I'm gonna do this single page. Usually I do pre-prepared double pages, you know, like the big double page spreads, say in Kirby Roseanne's books or even in Johanna Basford's books, but I thought because I'm demonstrating this I could do it on a single page. I did have another page picked out from Nice Little Town 6, and the reason I chose this is because of course this is pretty much Amazon printed paper, so quite thin, and then I could you know, demonstrate what it's like. Now I'm going to do this video in parts. It won't be parts for you because I'll just edit them together, because I'm going to show what it feels like to actually use watercolours on it. So I put paper behind just so that, you know, we don't go over onto the next page, and then press it down. Sorry for the shaking of the camera, but and then I'm going to take some of this out, the satin glazing liquid. Whoops. So make sure that's clean. Take some out there. And then get started. I might put this there on the side, and all you do really, a bit nervous about doing this on camera, but I'll do my best, and then just apply it basically. That's all you need to do. Try to keep your strokes one way, and then what I'll do is try to work a bit quickly, so don't really want it to dry on me because I want to sort of ensure that I've got all the bits. I do allow it to dry and then do another coat, so I do two coats altogether. Might crinkle a bit, as you can see at the bottom it is crinkling a little bit, but it's expected. Alright, so I'm going to just hold it there and then sort of go the other way. It's crinkled a little bit at the bottom, but generally it's fine. And remember, this is very thin paper, so that's what happens. Right, so I know I didn't bring you in because I want you to see the whole page as I'm doing it. like that. I like this scene actually, this picture, because it's a gardening one, and I don't know, for some reason I'm not into gardening, but I really like gardening scenes for some reason. Right, so that's that one. And then what I do, put that there, is I'm going to put that away to dry, the first coat. You can actually use a heat gun, and I do use a heat gun sometimes. And then I prepare my pages in bulk so that I actually have a few pages already prepared, and I don't need to take everything out all the time. Just going to place this there again, and I'm going to do this page. To remember, this is for using watercolours more easily on non-watercolour pages, especially in colouring books. I think I need a bit more liquid. So to purchase this satin glazing liquid, like I said, I got it from Jackson's Art for the 473 millilitres bottle. It's about just under £16, I think, and it actually lasts ages, so that is obviously a good thing. I mean, I've this is my first bottle that I've had for I think I've had it for over a year, and I still haven't finished, and I've actually done many pages with, you know, pre-prepared many pages. Right, this is a tricky bit where you do have to hold the edge. Right, there. And then so yeah, it just gives you an extra option, and that's why I use it. Especially for double pages, because if I didn't use watercolour and just use pencil for everything, it would probably take me so long. It is quite fast drying as well. So right, that's what we've got. Right, I'm gonna leave that like that, and hopefully come back when it's dried and do a second coat. So I won't bother showing you me doing the second coat, because, well, the thing is, you've seen me do the first coat, so it's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, this has gone really wet though. I think I've got underneath it, unfortunately. Right, I'll let it dry, I'll do the second coat, and then the next time I come back on this same video, I will use watercolours and see watercolour media. So I don't really use watercolour paint, but I do use watercolour pencils, etc., and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I've done 2 coats, and before I actually start watercolouring on them using watercolour pencils, etc., I just wanted to say before I forget, because I will forget, that now that I've put 2 coats on, I'm going to let it dry for at least 24 hours, so that, you know, I know that it's properly set in there and it's ready for me to use watercolours. So I would definitely leave it for a minimum 24 hours, preferably more than that, and leave the book open and, you know, allow it to fully dry. Okay, so I'll see you in the next segment. Okay, so my 2 pages are ready. So I've got this one, and you can see that it is not buckled at all. I let this dry for actually quite a few days, probably about 2-3 days, and then I put both books under some other heavier books so that, you know, the pages would flatten out nicely, and you can see that it's very flat. You know, there's really just like another page in the book. So yeah, there's that, and then there's this one, and so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to try some various water media. Now, I won't know if you'll be able to tell on camera. I'm hoping you are going to be able to tell the difference with which this satin glazing liquid makes a difference. So I've got some Neo colours to hand. I have some metallic paint as well. I have some, so these are all water-based media that I'm using. Some gelatos, these are pastel shades. I've got some Inktense blocks and some Inktense pencils, which of course are the same anyway in terms of the pigment. And then I've got this palette, which is the Pretty Excellent watercolour palette. And then I've also got some, oops, wrong way around. Got to have them the right way up, don't we? Right, so watercolour pencils as well. So these have just got various sets in them. And then I've got, finally, some, what are these? Right, these are the, probably upside down again, but anyway. Yeah, they are upside down. So the Tombow brush markers, water-based markers, and then the Arteza twine markers, which are also water-based. So what I thought first we could do is, at the back of each book, I mean here there's not really a tester page, so what I did is I added satin glazing liquid here to the back and just put, you know, pencil square line around it so I know. And then this is, obviously the rest of the page hasn't got satin glazing liquid in it, to see if you can see a difference that it makes. I mean, I can definitely see that it makes a difference. And this paper, of course, is Amazon printed paper, so I wanted to try it on there. And then slightly better paper, not slightly, quite a lot better, is the Johanna Basford book. So what I did here is this all has got satin glazing liquid in it, and then this square at the bottom is going to, well, it's just basically the paper with no treatment at all. So we will first look at, I'm just gonna spray the metallic watercolours so that they can sort of activate a little bit, and leave them to sort of dissolve there. So I'm going to have, let's say, an orange and a pink here. Right, I'm going to bring you in a little bit. So hopefully this is going to be useful. So just scribble it on the non-treated paper as well. Of course I should have bought a water brush upstairs, but because I actually film upstairs in the bedroom, and I have to bring all my stuff from downstairs to upstairs to do it right. I need some paintbrushes, so I'm going to use maybe this one that I've got a few selection of fine brushes, and so I prefer to use a water brush really, because that's what I usually use. But anyway, you can see that it moves. I hope you can see how easily, get you in there a little bit there, hope you can see how easily that moves. Can you see that it stays liquid on the surface much longer, and you can move it around, and it's easier to reactivate as well. So now I'm going to show you, just get a bit of tissue. Right, I'm going to show you the bottom one where there's no treatment at all. And I am adding a lot of water here, which isn't great if the paper is not treated. So it still moves, but that will, you can see that it's beading up a little bit. But I wouldn't use that much water without, you know, if there was no treatment, I'd use much less, and I'd use a water brush. It's just I haven't. I'm going to go and get a water brush in a minute or so, or soon. Right, so there we go. So that's the Neo colours. Other media that you can use on here that we're going to have, that I'm going to use now, is let's see. Let's use Inktense. And then down here as well. So yeah, I think it does. I mean, the pages will buckle a little bit, but nowhere near as if you did not have the treatment. If you did not treat it with the Satin Glaze liquid. And I do use more water when it comes to when I've got the Satin Glazing liquid on it, so you can just see that moves significantly better, and you can see the colour mix there as well underneath it, hopefully. So now I'm going to do that with the untreated part. Could still use it, it's fine, but like I say, the colour doesn't spread as much. Can you see there? I'm going to bring you out a little bit so you can compare both there, the blue ones there. So yeah, get much more of a mix, and you can actually rework it again if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to just go and nip and get my my water brush. So now I'm going to use the Inktense Block. So I'm going to use a red and yellow. I mean, you get a similar result to the pencil, of course. And same at the bottom there, red and yellow. I must remember to show you what these look like once you know, once they've dried. So we'll go with this one first. So mixed in. Yeah, a bit of a mix there. Not a great mix, but there you go. And then on the top here, it's much easier to use it, and look at the mix there, much easier to mix on the actual page to get your colour compared to the bottom one, which didn't really mix. Okay, so that's that one. So that's the Inktense blocks. Next, to use some metallic paints. So these are pastel shades. They are called Cosmic Shimmer watercolour paints. So I'm going to, I don't know, just pick out this lovely blue, I think. So yeah, you can see it stays quite fluid on the paper and is workable. And then on the usual paper, if you use a lot of paint, it will move. I mean, that's fine to use metallic paint on just, if you're not using a lot, it won't warp your paper too much. So I think that works quite well. Okay, so that's that one. Now I haven't really used these gelatos too much. In fact, I've rarely used them. I really need to use them more. So I'm not very sort of skilled. Well, you know, I haven't had much experience with these gelatos. So but when I used to use them for my art journal days, I used to you can see you can smudge them like that. So, and you get a lighter colour. On the gesso, they're very easy, you know, on gesso or on this medium here, they're very easy to sort of smudge. So that is easier to turn to watercolour there. And then it mixes, right, so that's that. And then let's try it on the bottom one. So I can just use this because actually it's just paper, isn't it? I'm just doing it on untreated paper. So you can smudge it, but it's actually, there's much more friction there, it's harder to do it. And then let me try it with water. Just down here it is. Again, it does dissolve. That doesn't work so bad on the untreated. Less workable compared to the other. And then right, what else have I got left? So that's the gelatos. And then I wanted to show you some of the marker pens. So I'm going to take say a purple and a light, let's see, pink. Do a purple and a pink of the Tombow markers. So these you can just put on like that. I mean, sometimes I just colour with them like this, and you can just, you know, blend it in like that, I suppose. And use the brush if you want to make it more seamless, I guess. I don't really use the brush, to be honest. I just colour with it like on the actual treated paper, and then when you want a really bright colour, you can do that. So there you go. Mixes in quite well. Or alternatively, if you put the colour down, then you get your water brush and you can move your colour out like that. So yeah, that's what the Tombow markers are like, and the other one, Arteza ones, are pretty much the same. So if I do it on the untreated paper, put that down, and I'm going to try to mix it as I would on here. Now it's quite wet. It's not as great if you look and compare it. When it dries, we'll have a look. And then we use the pink with the water brush, so pink, and then see if I can move that out a little bit. Not as great as if the paper was treated, and I can still see the dark sort of where I laid it down initially, but it's still workable, you know, it still works to some extent. I've got paint over me now. So yep, that's that. Just blend that in a bit. Okay, so that's that. And pencil. Now watercolour pencils work very well. I really, that's one of the main things I actually use. So I'm going to use the Faber-Castell, let's see, this green and this green, just to show what it might look like. So lay down the pencil. I'm going to put down the light green as well, and do the same here underneath on the untreated, so you can see it at the same time. And then use my water brush to activate it. Yep, looks good. Much easier to blend the colour. And now I'll do it on here. Still, again, it works quite well. Watercolour pencils will work well on untreated paper, especially on Johanna Basford paper, because it's, well, on this Worlds of Flowers. Not sure about the earlier books, because I think My Secret Garden repelled paints for some reason. But yeah, my green seems to have disappeared a little bit on here, so let's add some more. Maybe I didn't press on and put enough pigment down first time. And then I get a mix of colour there in the middle. You can see a different shade. So yeah, so those are the quick like media tests of watercolour mediums in the pre-treated satin glazing liquid page and the, you know, just the paper itself. So I'll let that dry a little bit and then show you hopefully at the end. For now, the book's come out of its sleeve. I'm going to show you the Amazon paper, Amazon printed paper, and how some of the media performs on there. So I'm just bring it out a little bit So actually I'm going to do it here rather than up down there, so that you can see, you know, side by side comparison. So these 3 bits here, so where I've drawn my pencil line, is where I have put the satin glazing liquid. So let's try the red and well, the pink again, and the orange, and then we'll do it on the like that, and see what we are with, how we go with that. Again, because this is quite thin paper, you can see on the treated paper it allows me to mix it, which is absolutely fine. Still shouldn't use too much water, but I think I'm alright at the moment. And then on the untreated paper, gives you a nice mix, but again it will warp the paper, I think. So on here you can move it a lot more, and you can, you know, layer it if you want to, but there's the colour there. Right, okay, so this is if you look on the other side, yeah, you can see here where I've put the water on the untreated Amazon printed paper, and then here, just show you, here is where I put it on. I put the neo colour and put the water on top of the satin glazing. You can see it's hardly come through at all. A little bit of wrinkling, but not much, and that'll straighten out. So let's use the, I'm not going to use all the media that I used on the World of Flowers, but I'll use some. So I'll put this colour in, which is basically the Tombow brush markers. You can see it looks more vibrant, of course, on the untreated paper, but you can have layers and make it more so that comes through, so you can see the colour will come through there. You can bring it out with your water, and then on the, just try to take the colour off, on the untreated paper, well, you can see, squeezing my brush again to see if I've got enough water, and I'll try again. It's not really coming through, and no, so you can see the clear difference there. It allows you to use your brush markers definitely here. Now I'm going to try, let's see, Inktense. So I won't try all the media, otherwise we'll be here forever, and we don't want that. You don't want me rabbiting on forever. Oops, maybe if I try the other side as well. You know, I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. There we go, and there you can see how the colour spreads there. It's just from the treated paper. And then here, oops, I went on the wrong side there, right. It's not really moving fully, is it? It's not fully dissolving and moving, so there you go. So I hope that sort of fulfills the request that I was asked by 2 subscribers, I think, or 2 viewers that were that requested for me to show using satin glazing liquid in books, and also just come out a little bit. I am going to work on both my, I'm not going to turn it, but both the pages that I pre-prepared. I'm hopefully going to colour them in with various watercolours and then show you the results. So thanks for watching, thanks for all your support, and until next time, take care, bye. I realised I forgot to show you what it looked like dry, and I also forgot to show you using actual watercolours, so I'm just going to add that in here. I told you I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on, and I'm just like, because I'm always a little bit nervous when I'm doing videos, and it just makes me forget things. So anyway, this is the dried version of the book, you can see here. of the page, should I say. So this is the Satin Glazing liquid, and you can see the blending. Well, I think the blending is slightly better, and you saw that it stays, because it stays liquid, the watercolours stay liquid on the page. You've got more time to work on it. I do like how some of the, like the neo colours, did come out on the page here, but if you use it on a large area, it's going to buckle the page more. These colours, the marker colours, didn't really blend properly there. You can see, you know, where the line was. You have got some water brush marks there on these, but that's probably because of me not using them as well as I could. So yeah, that's it dry. And then now I'm going to just quickly use some of these watercolours. So I'll bring you in a little bit. Gosh, I'm still such a novice, aren't I? But what can you do? I'm trying my best. Right, so I've just got a bit of neat actual red paint here, so I'm just going to water it down a little bit on the side. It's like a reddy orange actually, so yeah, so that works quite well. See, maybe get another colour. What about a purple with that? And there. You can actually feel the water. I made a little bit of a another colour there, and I've mixed it in with the purple, but there you go. And then if I do it on where I've got nothing, so I'm just going to do it here. Still get mixing, of course, but you can see here. Can you see? I don't know if you can tell that that's actually all liquid just on top there, because I used a lot of water, just so that you can see. You can just work it so much more longer than you can probably with this, and it does start. It does dry onto the paper quite easily, so it's hard to sort of work it a bit. So I hope that sort of demonstrates it a little bit, and the use of Satin Glazing liquid. There are downsides to it as well. It is fairly expensive, but the bottle that I get is £17 something from Jackson's Art, and it lasts me ages, so it does last a long time. So in that respect it's good, and it does take time, of course, to pre-prepare your pages, and then you can use, I've found that you can use coloured pencil on top. Usually I use the harder pencils, but it won't blend as well as if the paper was not, you know, if the paper didn't have the Satin Glazing liquid. But I only really use the Satin Glazing liquid if I know that I'm going to use various watercolours, be they water-based markers or pencils or whatever it is. So yeah, that's that. Now I don't know if the other book is dry yet. Probably not. Yeah, it's not. Oops, excuse that. It's just a paintbrush falling. It's not fully dry, but you can see the difference from the treated test parts and the non-treated bits there. And also, if you look for the Amazon paper, the bit that wasn't treated, the colour's just gone through. So yeah, I think it's definitely an option, especially on Amazon printed paper. Better paper, you can probably get away with it, I reckon, if I'm being honest. You can get away with it if the paper is quite thick. Like World of Flowers is quite a good paper. I don't think you necessarily have to treat it with Satin Glazing liquid unless you're going to use a lot of water and you know that you're going to use a fair amount of water. But on these sort of thin Amazon paper, if you want to use watercolour, then I would definitely use Satin Glazing liquid. So I'll try to end the video now again. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, bye.